So we've now talked about a sentinel-controlled loop. The next type of loop I would like to talk about is a count-controlled loop. Okay? We're going to skip the end of file for another week because we're going to do a lab on that, and that'll help you with the file. But let's say this time, rather than using a sentinel-like loop, I would like to do something a specific number of times. Let's say 100. Okay? So I guess I'll go ahead and use the compiler since I think you guys like watching that. So this time, I'm going to change this whole loop up. I'll go ahead and keep the odd and even, because that's fine. But this time, I'm going to keep looping while some kind of count is less than 100. So I want to enter 100 numbers. Oh gosh, let's not do that because I'm going to have to run it. Okay. Can I make this 10? Okay. All right. So we're going to this time. We're going to say rather than having a sentinel, I want to enter 10 values. Okay. So the star steps still remain. And this time, my test step is going to be something like raw counts. I'm going to add a count variable here. This has nothing to do with even counter and odd counter. It's different. Okay? So what am I going to do to start the loop if I'm going to stop looping when I get to 10? How do I initialize this condition to get through the loop? Hold that thought. So the way that I do it is I just set the count to 0. Okay? So in this case, remember the test condition is always going to help you with your other 3 conditions. So if my test condition is going to keep going until count is less than 10, how am I essentially going to initialize that condition? And the way I'm going to initialize is by setting it to 0. Okay? So then what am I going to do in the actions, in the restart step, I'm sorry, rather than asking this time, what am I going to do in the action step? And now, the restart step. I told you a lot of times it looks like step 1, but I'm hoping that you're going to see the fallacy of that argument. What's wrong with doing this for my restart step? I'm putting back 0 back in count. So what do I want to do instead? Yes. So if the loop calls for, which is not that frequently, a specific number of times rather than letting the user pick, okay, this is be how you set it up. So let's run this, but we'll make it more interesting in a second, okay? What did I do wrong? Oh, this is the error you get. A lot of you get this, and you call me over, and you're all upset if you have it already running, okay? All right, so let's do it again. Okay, so I went through and I read 6 even numbers and 4 odd numbers. Now let's simplify this loop. Let's say that I want to just do something like I'm going to forget the even and odd. I just am going to print hello. Okay, so what is this loop going to do? Thank you. What is this loop going to do? This is going to print hello 10 times. Does everybody see that? So let's do it. I don't need this. Yeah, thank you. Okay, well, okay, so there's hello 10 times. Okay, now I could easily make this 100. I could easily make this, whatever. Okay? So let's change this a little bit. Let's say that I would like this to be a little more interesting, and I would actually like it to print some of the counts for me. Okay? Now let's look. Okay, so let's answer Ariel's question. So the step 2 is count less than 10. So this loop is going to continue to run while count is less than 10. So what are the iterations it's going to go through? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, up through 9. Okay? It's going to get down here. Bump it to 9. 9 is less than 10. It's going to print hello. And then what's it going to do next? Okay, now don't quit, because remember, this is a stupid computer. Okay? It's going to bump it to 10, then where's it going to go? Back up and fail. Okay? Let's prove that by, instead of printing hello this time, let's print count. Okay? So this loop, let's watch what happens. There's no magic. This is just doing exactly what you told it to do. It starts count at 0. If count is less than 10, which of course it is, it prints the first value, which of course is what? Okay. Comes down here, bumps count to, then where does it go? Back up here, goes 1, prints 1, la, la, la. When it gets down to 10, it comes back up here and fails. Now, I have a lot of flexibility I could do here. One thing I could do is, rather than going to 10, I would like the user to choose how many he wants to go to. So I'm going to say, how high Okay, I'll fix it 1 second. Let me just finish this line. So then what do I change this guy to? So it actually went, if I wanted to actually go to 50, what should I do here? Okay? Now, let's go over the steps again, and then I'm going to show you a cooler way of doing this. Okay? So if I want to use the while loop for counting, I use the same steps. I use the test condition. I'm going to test whatever my maximum is, and that's what my test is going to be. I need to initialize that probably to 0, okay, depending upon the problem. And then I need to increment it generally as my step 4. Because counting is something we do a fair amount of, we actually have a special loop for this. Okay? So exactly equivalent to this is the following code. Okay, so this is what we call the for loop. I'm going to simplify this and get rid of this for now, okay? Let's just take this back to 10. We'll go back and show you that example. But let's just go to 10. Okay, so now the for loop is a little more magical because a lot happens with a few steps, but it's still not a trick. Watch the cursor, please, okay? This guy happens once. Once and once only. Okay? Count gets set to 0. This guy, the test condition, happens next, and it's going to be repeated just like the while loop. Okay? If this test is true, watch my cursor, it comes right here. Sort of like 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Always, we come up here. Always, we go back here and make the next test. So let's repeat. So count got set to 0. Next, we check to see if count is less than 10. This is all happening one by one in the computer, okay, behind the scenes. Is 0 less than or equal to 10? Yes. So it jumps into the body and prints what? What's count right now? 0. We now come up to the restart step. We bump count to 1. We now go to the test condition. Is 1 less than or equal to 10? Yeah. Come back down here and print 1. Come over here, bump count to 2. Is 2 less than or equal to 10? Print 2. Bump to 3. 3 less than or equal to 10? Yes. Print 3. Can I stop? Bump to 4. Okay. So dot, dot, dot. Let's go down to the end of the loop. Okay? So let's say we bump to 9. Bump to 9. Is 9 less than or equal to 10? Yes. We print 9. Bump to 10. Is 10, oh shoot, I want one, is 10 less than or equal to 10? Yes. Print 10. Don't quit. You're smart, the computer's stupid. Bump to 11. Is 11 less than or equal to 10? No. Get out and come down here. And if I actually printed count down here, what would it be? 11. Question. Backwards where? So this guy only happens once. Let's look at the because it had to go to 11 to fail this guy. Yeah. It's no magic. It's no, you know 10 is done. This computer is stupid. It does not know 10 is done. It has to go to the next one and fail the test. Not in here, but if I happen to put a trick question in a test, and I asked you what the count was after the loop, you should be able to tell me that it was 11. Okay? No, I would never do that. So let's look. Now, you need to understand this sucker. Okay? You need to see there's no magic. It's a stupid thing that goes step by step by step. But once you understand the not magic, there's a lot you can do with this guy. Okay? So this printed 0 through 10. Let's say I want to go 1 through 100. How easy is this to change? Very easy. How do I change this from 1 to 100? Change this guy to 1, and this guy to 100, and la, you know, it does all that. Okay? But it's even more interesting than that. What about if I want to go backwards? So let's say I start at 100, and I would like to go backwards through 0. What should I change this guy to? And voila, it does that. Okay? Let's say I would like to start again at here and go through 10. Let's say, let's say I want to count by 2s. Well, plus 2 is not enough. So what I need, you're on the right track. But what I need to say is, (0 through 8). Why did it not include 10? Because I said less than 10, not less than or equal. So this loop has a lot of power. Okay? It's exactly equivalent to the while, but it's shorter and trickier. Typically, if the loop, okay, let's do one more. Let's say that if I want to let the user put in num times. And then this guy changes to what? So it can be a variable too. So this allows us to do a lot of counting. Anytime we have a particular iteration, whoops, spell much? Let's see. Oh, I'm still doing evens too, which I don't really like. Does everybody see the framework for the for? You're going to have to practice with this, okay? So we've learned 2 whiles and the for loop, which gives us a lot of power. Now, okay, now, you ready? We can put loops inside of loops, right? And we would call this guy a nested loop.